In today's video, we will dive into Trump's second assassination attempt and the events that may have contributed to it. In order to do that, we must take a trip back in history, specifically 2015, when Trump published his presidential book. Crippled America: How to Make America Great Again is a book by Donald J. Trump published in 2015. In this book, Trump lays out his vision for addressing what he perceives as the major problems facing the United States and outlines his proposals for reform. Key themes and arguments. 1. State of the nation. Trump argues that America is in a state of decline, which he refers to as being crippled. He attributes this deterioration to poor leadership and ineffective policies from both political parties. 2. Economic policy. Trump emphasizes the need to revive the American economy. He criticizes the existing trade deals and proposes renegotiating or abandoning them to benefit American workers. He advocates for tax reforms, including lowering corporate taxes to stimulate economic growth and job creation. 3. Healthcare. The book critiques the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, claiming it has led to increased costs and reduced quality of care. Trump proposes repealing and replacing it with a system that he believes will offer more affordable and accessible healthcare options. 4. Immigration. Trump discusses the need for stricter immigration controls. He supports building a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border to prevent illegal immigration and advocates for a more rigorous vetting process for immigrants. 5. Foreign policy. Trump critiques this foreign policy, arguing that America is not respected on the global stage. He calls for a stronger stance in negotiations and a re-evaluation of America's involvement in international conflicts. 6. Government reform. He proposes reducing government bureaucracy and cutting wasteful spending. Trump believes that reforming how the government operates will lead to more efficient and effective governance. 7. National security. The book addresses issues related to national security, including the need to strengthen the military and address threats from terrorism. Trump emphasizes a robust defense strategy and stronger counter-terrorism measures. 8. American values. Trump underscores the importance of American values and national pride. He calls for a renewed focus on what he sees as the core principles that have made America great. Overall, Crippled America presents a critique of the status quo and offers Trump's vision for restoring America's strength and prominence. The book serves as a platform for his political philosophy and a precursor to his presidential campaign, reflecting his broader populist and nationalist themes. Assassination attempts are unfortunately not a new trend. In fact, before Trump, the most recent U.S. president to have an assassination attempt against them was President Joe Biden. The attempted assassination occurred in August 2022, when an individual was arrested for plotting to kill Biden. The arrest took place in Delaware, where the suspect had been reportedly planning to use firearms against the president. This incident highlights ongoing security challenges and threats faced by sitting U.S. presidents. Now going back to Trump's assassination attempt at a Florida gold course. The FBI is currently investigating the incident. All we know is that shots were fired at him, but he is okay, and that one person was detained for the attack. Donald Trump's tenure as president and his public persona have generated significant controversy and polarization. His beliefs and policies, which some view as radical or conservative, have contributed to both strong support and considerable opposition. Here are a few examples of his views and policies that have been particularly divisive. 1. Immigration policy. Build the wall. Trump's insistence on constructing a border wall between the U.S. and Mexico was a central promise of his 2016 campaign. Critics argue that this policy is both impractical and xenophobic. Travel ban. Early in his presidency, Trump implemented a travel ban targeting several predominantly Muslim countries, which was widely criticized as discriminatory and a violation of religious freedoms. 2. Climate change and environmental policies. Withdrawal from the Paris Agreement. Trump's decision to withdraw the U.S. from the Paris Climate Agreement was seen by many as a major step back in global efforts to combat climate change. Rollbacks of environmental regulations. His administration rolled back numerous environmental regulations aimed at reducing pollution and protecting natural resources, which many environmentalists viewed as harmful to long-term ecological health. 3. Healthcare policy. Repeal of Obamacare. Trump's vigorous push to repeal the Affordable Care Act Obamacare without a clear replacement plan was criticized for potentially leaving millions of Americans without health insurance. 4. Rhetoric and behavior. Controversial statements, Trump's often inflammatory and provocative rhetoric, including comments on race, gender, and various minority groups, has been a major source of contention. His remarks about immigrants, women, and people of color have been viewed as racially insensitive and divisive. Response to protests. Trump's response to protests and social movements, including his handling of the Black Lives Matter movement, was seen as dismissive and antagonistic by many critics. 5. Election integrity and January 6th. Claims of election fraud. Trump's persistent claims that the 2020 presidential election was stolen, despite a lack of evidence, have been criticized for undermining democratic institutions and contributing to political instability. January 6th Capitol riot. His role in the events of January 6, 2021, when supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol, has been viewed as inciting violence and an attack on democratic processes. 6. Foreign policy. Relations with authoritarian leaders. Trump's favorable treatment of leaders like Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un was seen by some as undermining U.S. alliances and values in favor of authoritarian regimes. These examples reflect a range of policies and behaviors that have polarized opinions about Trump, contributing to both strong opposition and strong support among different groups of Americans. Could such extreme beliefs lead to another war? This is the lingering question that keeps many awake at night. Let's consider a few factors. While Donald Trump's rhetoric and policies have been controversial and divisive, starting a war would require a range of factors beyond just radical beliefs or rhetoric. The decision to engage in military conflict involves many layers, including 1. Presidential authority and military decisions. Checks and balances. The President of the United States has significant authority over military decisions, but starting a war typically involves extensive consultations with military leaders, Congress, and international allies. The U.S. has a complex system of checks and balances designed to prevent unilateral actions that could lead to unnecessary conflicts. 2. Domestic and international reactions. Political fallout. Any attempt by a president to start a war would likely face substantial scrutiny and opposition from both domestic and international sources. Congress would play a critical role in debating and approving military actions, and public opinion, as well as potential legal challenges, could influence the decision-making process. 3. International diplomacy. Global implications. Modern international relations involve complex diplomatic and economic considerations. Starting a war can have far-reaching consequences, affecting global stability, trade, and alliances. The international community, including major powers and organizations like the United Nations, would likely weigh in on any potential conflict. 4. Historical context and precedents. Previous actions. Trump's presidency did involve some aggressive foreign policy stances, such as his administration's approach to North Korea and Iran. However, despite these tensions, he did not initiate a new war. Historical precedents show that even presidents with strong nationalistic or aggressive stances typically face significant barriers to starting major conflicts. 5. Potential for conflict. Military strategy. While Trump's rhetoric, particularly during his campaign and early presidency, was often assertive and confrontational, actual military engagement requires detailed planning and substantial justification. Any significant military action would likely be driven by specific provocations or strategic objectives rather than purely ideological beliefs. In summary, while Trump's beliefs and rhetoric may contribute to tensions and could influence his foreign policy, starting a war involves a complex interplay of factors, including legal, diplomatic, and political considerations. The institutional frameworks and checks within the U.S. government are designed to prevent rash decisions that could lead to widespread conflict. As of September 2024, predicting which candidate, Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, is more likely to become the next president involves evaluating several factors, including their political positions, campaign dynamics, and current polling. The likelihood of Kamala Harris or Donald Trump becoming president will depend on how effectively each candidate addresses these factors. The dynamic nature of electoral politics means that shifts in public opinion, new developments, and campaign strategies can significantly influence the race. Monitoring current polls, campaign activities, and political developments will provide more clarity as the election approaches. Who do you think is more likely to win? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and until next time. If you are a curious person such as myself and would love to learn at least one new fact each day, whether it is to enhance your personal relationships, finance, professional life, health, and much more, you have come to the right place. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time. Now you need to watch the presidential debate in the link shown.